Hello and welcome to Gradient's weekly roundup of key business and financial developments in Sri Lanka for the week ending 22nd of April 2022. I'm Nishani Figuera. Here are the top stories for this week. IMF seeks debt sustainability from Sri Lanka prior to funding. Rating agencies downgrade Sri Lanka. Power cuts, fuel and gas shortages into the 9th week. Daily tourist arrivals dropped 30% in April. CSE mulls actions to relax forced selling. We will also briefly look at other notable news that made it across to our news desk. In our main story this week, the International Monetary Fund on Wednesday noted that any funding to Sri Lanka, including the Emergency Rapid Financing Instrument, would require adequate assurance that the country's debts are on a sustainable path, indicating that any facility may not be available as quickly as Sri Lanka expects. According to a statement from the Finance Ministry, Sri Lanka made a request for a rapid financing instrument for which India also made representations. This was being considered despite the country falling outside the standard circumstances for such a scheme. On Monday, Ali Sabri, Minister of Finance, Nandalal Veerasinghe, Central Bank Governor, and Mahinda Siriwardena, Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, commenced discussions with the International Monetary Fund in Washington, D.C. for a rapid financing instrument and the longer-term extended fund facility. Following Sri Lanka's decision to suspend servicing of external public debt, global rating agencies downgraded Sri Lanka's rating. On Monday, Moody's Investor Service lowered its sovereign rating to CA from CAA2, stating that debt suspension will lead to a series of defaults, with the first coupon payments on the international bonds due on the 18th of April. Previously, Fitch Ratings downgraded Sri Lanka's rating to C from CC, whilst S&P reduced its rating by a notch to CC from CCC. Further, Fitch Ratings lowered its economic growth forecast for Sri Lanka to 1% in 2022, citing expected deceleration in demand due to tightening monetary policy and the ongoing foreign exchange troubles, which have caused shortages of key commodities and medicines. In January, Fitch had projected Sri Lanka to grow 2.2%. Power cuts persisted in the country for the 9th week, with electricity interruptions extended to 4 hours after it was relaxed during the New Year holidays. Despite credit lines and loans from India, China and Bangladesh, supplies are constrained as the country continues to face an unprecedented foreign exchange crisis. This culminated in protests across the island, with Galface being the epicenter, demanding the president's resignation, along with political reforms and tangible solutions to ongoing economic challenges. On Monday, Sipetco significantly increased the retail selling price of a litre of Lanka Auto Diesel by 64.2% to 289 rupees, and petrol octane 92 price was adjusted upwards by 33.1% to 338 rupees. Despite such hikes, Kanchana Wijesekara, Minister of Power and Energy, stated that the CPC is losing 327 million rupees per day. However, this is down from 1.6 billion rupees per day prior to the recent price revision. Moreover, shortages of medicines persisted, with several doctors making announcements of dwindling supplies and significant impacts in coming weeks should the situation not be resolved. According to the SLTDA, 43,761 tourists arrived in the country in the first 18 days of April, increasing the cumulative figure for the year to over 325,000. However, given the situation in the country, daily average arrivals have dropped from over 3,600 to 2,535. Month to date, the United Kingdom was the main source market, followed by India and Germany. Sri Lanka was targeting 1.3 million tourists in 2022 and to generate $2.4 billion in revenue. The Colombo Stock Exchange was closed from Monday, 18th April to Friday, 22nd of April, with the Securities and Exchange Commission citing that this was due to the present situation in the country and its effect on the ability to conduct an orderly and fair market for trading in securities. The Colombo Stockbrokers Association welcomed the move. Moreover, according to Dumit Fernando, CSE chairman, the CSE is in the process of relaxing several measures with regard to forced selling. The SPI has fallen by over 30% in 2022. And now let's take a look at how the rupee performed against the dollar this week. In other news, Sri Lankan Airlines announced that it had made $1.7 million profit during the January to March quarter in 2022 as a result of cutting costs and renegotiating contracts. It noted that it was the first time since 2006 that a March quarter had made a profit. Such news comes amidst the airline advertising for 11 wide-body aircraft and 10 narrow-body aircraft to replace aircraft where leases were expiring and to expand the fleet made. The manufacturer's purchasing managers index expanded to 57.8 in March on seasonality from New Year preparations. New orders and production sub-indices grew, but respondents noted that prolonged fuel shortages, daily power cuts and supply chain bottlenecks are significantly impacting them. The services sector PMI was a 51.3, with the sub-index of expectations for activity significantly falling. A PMI of over 50 is generally considered as expansion on a month-on-month basis. And that's a wrap for this week. Follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more updates on business and financial developments in Sri Lanka. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching. Stay safe.